the butterfly stretched his wings, and the sun shone, and he stretched and stretched. As he looked over the garden, it was his idea of butterfly heaven. All the flowers, so many flowers. He was going to marry one, but which one? Well, would it be the crocus? He didn't know, but he flew down to visit them one by one. The crocus was a lovely lass, as was the snowdrop, but a trifle formal, he thought. The violet, far too sentimental. And when he went to the anemone, she smelled bad. And so he flew on. He thought it was going to take him a while to choose a wife, and he didn't have a while. He wanted to get there quickly. And so he thought to ask the daisy. Now, I don't know if you know, but in France they call the daisy the marguerite. And she is said to be very wise, psychic in fact, so that she would know if this was the right flower for you, and if she would love you a lot, distractedly or not at all. And so he flew to the marguerite, and he kissed each petal tenderly, and said, "Darling Marguerite, will you tell me which flower I should marry? They say you are a very wise woman, wise in the ways of love, and if you tell me which one I should marry, I will go directly." Now he made a mistake in calling the Marguerite a wise woman. She took umbrage. She felt that he was insinuating that she was old. She was not a wise woman. If he had said wise young woman or wise girl, that would have been fine, but old woman made her feel like an old crone, and she wasn't an old crone, and she wasn't going to talk to that butterfly. And so she didn't. And as the butterfly waited, he got more and more impatient, until in the end he decided to fly away. But which flower should he choose? Oh, the lime flower. The lime flower was delightful, but very small, and lots of them. 2 to 4 mother-in-laws didn't go down very well in his life. And then, the apple blossom, just like a miniature rose, so beautiful. But as he watched and looked, the blossoms were there one minute and gone with the wind the next. Far too short a marriage, he thought. And so he flew on. And in his flitting from flower to flower, he ended up in the vegetable plot. And it was there that he saw her. Oh, tall and slender, with beautiful white and red petals. The pea flower. And she was domesticated. She would be good in the kitchen. And so he was just about to get down on bended knees when he noticed beside her a green pod with a sort of spent flower. And he was so surprised, he said, "Well, who is that?" She smiled. "My sister." "Your sister?" "Yes, my sister." Not a good marriage. So young to grow so old, so quickly and ugly. He flew away. And in his flitting, he flitted through spring and summer, and it came to autumn. The garden was awash with colour. But in his estimation, the flowers were a little old for his liking. He didn't have any feelings for the chrysanthemum or the dahlia. They had no allure for him whatsoever. He was beginning to get worried that never would he marry, until he saw the mint plant. She had no flower, but she smelled divine. Each and every leaf had a wonderful aroma. And so he proposed straight away. And when he had finished, he waited with bated breath. She looked at him up and down. And she said, "Marriage? I don't think so. You are old." And I must admit, I am getting on myself. We could live together if you like. But marriage, I think that would be foolish, don't you? The poor butterfly, destined to be a single butterfly all his life. And he was just lamenting the fact when a cold breeze blew through the garden, winter was coming on. And he thought, "Oh, I cannot stay here, it's so cold." And as luck would have it, he found a building with an open window which he flew in, and it was warm in there. He perched himself behind the curtains, deciding that he would wait out the winter and set forth again in the springtime to look for a wife. He would exist. But he found that existing, he didn't like it much. And one day, during the winter, the sun came out from behind the clouds and shone through the window. And he found himself wanting to be out, to be free, with the sunshine on his wings and a little flower companion. And so he went straightway to the window and began to flutter against it, but he could not find a way out. And he went up and down and across and round and exhausted himself so much that he passed from this world. His earthly body fell down onto the window ledge, and his spiritual body floated up towards heaven. Now, the fluttering against the window had drawn the attention of the people in the room, and when they found his earthly body on the window ledge, they picked it up and looked at it, and they saw that he was very beautiful. And so they decided to put him on display. They took a pin and stuck it into his body and put him on a cork and put him in a display with other butterflies that they had collected. Meanwhile, up in butterfly heaven, the butterfly looked down and he saw himself displayed. And he thought, that is rather like being a flower on a stalk, except that a flower on a stalk dies at the end of the season, usually. And there am I. I am going to be on display for posterity. I have the best of both worlds, for here, in butterfly heaven, there are lots of female butterflies. And I am looking forward to getting better acquainted.